that Seder, she would reminisce about her mother's cooking and her father's glorious voice. She said people lined up outside the house to listen, which was a comment my father did not appreciate, who didn't have that glorious voice. My mother never went to college, but she was so smart. She had a vocabulary that would send me to the dictionary. She worked as a bookkeeper and really enjoyed the city. She was way ahead of her time. She married my father in 1954. They met in Israel, married there, and lived there for about a year. They returned to New York when my mother was pregnant. She missed her family, her brothers and her sister, my Aunt Mary. My mother also had a special relationship with her nieces and nephews. She was Aunt Ruthie. My mother was the last remaining of her siblings. Many of them had made Aliyah to Israel, and their children's families have grown, and I've received wonderful emails with beautiful memories over these last couple of days. My parents had a good life. They were proud to be able to provide us with so much. They traveled the world. My mother had mahjong and canasta to keep her busy. She loved to read and crochet. She didn't need much to be content. These last few years brought on many challenges. After my father died, she lived alone for a couple of years before moving to Atria. She adjusted quickly and entered the next chapter of her life. Over time, her vision got worse, her hearing got worse, her speech got worse, but she forged on. She really was a trooper. The last stroke hit her hard. Her fighting days were over. People think I was a good daughter, but they have no idea what a good mother she was. There was nothing my mother wouldn't do for us. We always knew we had her love and support. We knew that was all that mattered to her. We were all that mattered to her, and we knew it.
Aunt Ruth she was my great aunt, and I had the privilege of getting to know her very well over the last few years. She was probably my favorite person. She had a very loud laugh. She told me many wonderful stories about growing up in New York City. She talked about how her family didn't have any money, but they were so happy and they would play games, and her older brothers always doted on her, and she was just a very adorable person. I'm sorry, I don't usually cry when I do these. And it was, I'm not allowed to say her age, but...
Then don't.
It was
My mother gets the last word. If any of you will notice, and I will say this, my father has no date on there for when he was born. And my mother knew that if they did it for him, they'd match it and do it for her. So when we wrote the words for my father, it was prohibited that any dates be put there. And she is going to be ageless forever. She gets the last word on that. Sorry.
Well, I can't say her age. It was incredibly special to have such a strong connection with somebody from a different generation. She was always asking questions about what was going on in my life. She was always just so plugged into what was going on with the world. She was just a warm, delightful person to be with, and I would trek out to Kew Gardens and spend the day with her and just come home and be in such a nice mood. I'm really going to miss her.
Here for the Kavod Acharon, give the last respects for Rivka Bas Avraham. In this past week's Parsha, Parshas Vayechi, the portion of the week, usually between portions there's a space written in the Torah. Between Parshas Vayechi and the Parsha before it, Vayigash, there is no space, there's only one letter. And Rashi, one of the commentaries, asks, why is this Parsha closed? Closed means there's no space. There's only a one-letter space between the portion of the week before and this portion of the week. And Rashi answers, I believe it's a Medrash, that this was in this Parshas Vayechi we have the death of the patriarch Jacob. Jacob, who died at 147 years. Even though he died at such an old age, Rashi says, my name shall Yisrael. When Jacob died, the hearts and the eyes of the Jewish people were closed. It started a new era. It started the era of the exile. And it was a very tough time for the family of Jacob. Their hearts and eyes were closed. Their spirits were down. It because they lost the patriarch Jacob, as I said, at 147 years old. Even though, I know I was warned, I'm not allowed to say her age. We know Ruth wasn't 147 years old, but an unbelievable age she was blessed with, and she was blessed with walking around till a few weeks ago, going to activities till a few weeks ago, going out with Sharon till a very short time ago. The tenacity, she kept moving, nothing got her down. She always fought on, she had that smile, she always knew how to say a thank you, she was always appreciative. I remember once she was going outside without her coat. Her coat wasn't, I said, come, you gotta close your coat, let me help you close your coat. It was freezing, I was like, today. She couldn't stop thanking me that I cared about her. She was just a very, very delightful person, a friendly person, a sweet person. She had some tough times, but she fought on. She was so tenacious and such a strong, strong person till the last few weeks of her life. I actually saw her. We went with my wife last Saturday night. My wife usually doesn't come with me. She liked your mother, we're friendly with Sharon, and we went to see her in the nursing home. And we spoke to her a little, and as soon as she heard Sharon's name, her face lit up. I was actually shocked I didn't see Sharon there. I know she was there early in the day. And Sharon said, I might be a good daughter, and I could be a witness for how many years? Is it 6 or 8? How many years is your mother
I think
there?
it was 2008 that she
No,
moved in.
2008. So it was 6 years that Sharon was there, Yom V'Layla, day and night. Every Yontiv she would walk in, always to spend the holiday with her mother. Her mother shouldn't be alone. Every week, I mean, I'm only there part of the day, but I saw Sharon quite often. She was really...
People thought I was a resident.
She was really, is an extremely devoted daughter. Tremendous kibbut of aim. Her mother, she gave her tremendous honor. She didn't do it grouchily. She didn't do it begrudgingly. She always did it with a smile, even though it was tough. It was the end of the day, or her Sundays, days off. She would take her mother to the doctor. She'd take her mother wherever she had to go, and always with a smile. Take her mother out. You really, without knowing how your mom raised you, I know how she raised you, because as you said, she was a great mother, because I could tell from you, and that's
There
the
were
way.
two of us.
That's the way it usually
Throw him a
is.
bone.
What?
Throw my brother a bone.
That's the way it usually is, because the way you treat your mother is the way your mother treated her parents, and the way she treated you. That's the way we know that, you know, what kind of mother she was. She's going to really be missed. We want to ask her mechila, forgiveness from her family, from everybody in the atrium, from myself, if we didn't treat her properly. She should go to the Kisi HaKavod. She should go up to heaven, be a good Tibet there. She should ask Hashem for everything for her family and for all of the Klal Yisrael. Sharon will be sitting Shiva, 70-20, 108th Street. Efron, you'll be there till today in apartment 2B, and Sharon will be sitting there till Sunday night.